Thank you. Thank you very much. Mayor Muniz, Assessor Shahardi, Sheriff Norman, Judge Sullivan, Police Chief Caraway, members of the City Council, Ms. Carol Luna, Mr. DeMarco, members of my family, dear friends, my fellow citizens. There is a special man here who has earned a lasting place in our hearts and in our parish's great history. Mayor Ed Muniz, on behalf of the people of the greater metropolitan area, I thank you for having the courage for everything you have done for Carnival, for broadcasting, and for government in our region. For a few of us here today, this is a very momentous occasion, and yet in the history of our great city, it is a commonplace occurrence. The transfer of authority routinely takes place as it has since Antoine Watney was elected Kenner's first mayor in 1913. Perhaps President Ronald Reagan said it best, but when you think about it, this every 4-year ceremony is nothing less than a miracle. A few minutes ago, I repeated word for word the oath taken by Joseph S. Yenni 40 years ago. And on the Bible on which I place my hand is the same Bible on which he placed his. My predecessor, Mayor Muniz, also took the oath on this very same Bible just 4 short years ago. I find it appropriate that the memory of Joe Yenni be with us today, not only because he was my grandfather, but also because he was a respected and beloved mayor in his day. I feel certain he would be very pleased this day to see that Ed Muniz, a man he helped get started in government 30 years ago, has brought this kind of community back to what he envisioned Kenner to be. I'm certain he would be proud to know his grandson is moving forward with the good values that he and Ed Muniz have instilled in me. I also think Joe Yenni would be delighted by Kenner today. He would see that his hard work and sacrifices have paid off. The land acquisitions, the public works infrastructure, the recreation facilities have proven their worth time and time again. Tomorrow, July 2nd, would have been my grandfather's 93rd birthday. I know how extremely happy he must be to have his beloved wife, my grandmother Lucille, celebrating with him alongside my Uncle Michael. They have the best seats to watch this ceremony in the next 4 years as they unfold. It was also 4 years ago that Mayor Muniz gave me what at the time was the job of a lifetime, to serve the citizens of Kenner as its chief administrative officer. Then, on March 27th, the people of Kenner elevated me to one of the goals I had hoped to achieve in my lifetime, to proudly serve as your 18th elected mayor. Thank you. It is with high hopes and humility that I begin this term and accept the duties and responsibilities incumbent upon me. Many obstacles face our great city. First and foremost, this national recession, or some may call it a depression. The difference is, in a recession, you lose your job. In a In a recession, your neighbor loses his job. In a depression, you lose yours. I got that one, Mayor? As President Reagan observed, a recession distorts our economic decisions, penalizes thrift, and crushes the struggling young and fixed-income elderly alike. Also, it threatens to shatter the lives of our people. And for Kenner, our quality of life is at stake. For too long, Kenner has not been run like what it is supposed to be, the state's 6th largest city. We as leaders must ask the people what they want for their city and what they want their city to be. Fiscal responsibility was one of the goals of the Muniz administration, and that was proven budget after budget, no fat. Or as my grandfather used to say, just the meat and potatoes. The new Yenni administration will govern this city under Joe Yenni's motto for Jefferson Parish. Simply, do not spend what you do not have. Thank you. Hopefully, our economy will improve, and we will continue to bring new businesses like Target stores to Kenner to help increase tax revenues. However, Kenner has been financed mainly by sales taxes, and this is no way to protect our future. That brings me to one of our next challenges: proper funding of our police and fire departments. One of my campaign promises was just that. Chief Caraway and the men and women of the Kenner Police Department are faced daily with this post-Katrina world we now live in. Crime is worse because the dynamics of the metropolitan area have changed. Chief Caraway can no longer lead his department with 24% of undedicated revenue. It is time we must ask the people how important combating crime is. A reliable funding source for the Kenner Police Department must be put into place so Chief Caraway can have the adequate personnel and tools at his fingertips to keep our city safe. It is my observation that not since the days of Joe Yenni and Sal Lentini have you had the type of cooperation between a mayor and a police chief that was in place the past 4 years with Ed and Steve. I am firmly committed to maintaining that relationship. Chief Caraway's endorsement of my election is one of the reasons I am standing before you today. Steve, please accept my sincere thanks for everything you did to help me accomplish this goal. Now, let's talk about our commitment to our other first responders, Kenner's firefighters. I am proud that Chief John Helmers and his department have maintained our Class II fire insurance rating. This rating is very important to keeping our fire insurance premiums low for owners of homes and commercial businesses in our city. It also certifies their quick response time to fire calls. However, current funding for the fire department is not enough for more manpower, better working conditions, and updating our aging fleet of fire trucks. We will work hard to see that the fire department's message is communicated to the people. Also, we must acknowledge the daily contributions of hundreds of employees in public works, recreation, code enforcement, and many others who serve the public to the best of their ability with a smile, but without a pay raise. We will work hard to find a way to help you. Then there is our other major challenge: to bring the city's archaic storage system back into compliance with state and federal laws. It is great that we received a $22 million loan at 0.95% interest to start repairing an old and neglected infrastructure. However, there is another $30 million of improvements and repairs that must be completed before the DEQ will put the city back into compliance. This too will need more funding than the city can provide under the current revenue formula. But I believe the council, and ultimately the people, will help the administration find a funding source for these improvements. You cannot have a first-class city with a broken and dilapidated storage system. These obstacles are not new. We have been talking about them for the past 3 years. We must act on these issues today in order to save tomorrow. Now, there's a big elephant in the back of the room for us and every other nearby community: the BP oil spill. Right now, only God knows where the oil spill will take us. But we know there are many in our community who work in the petroleum and seafood industries who are already impacted by the spill. We pray that Kenner and its people be spared further negative impact from oil spills in the Gulf. The financial problems we suffer have come upon us over many decades. These problems will not just go away, but I guarantee this administration will begin to act starting today. Also, I assure you we will not overlook the youth of Kenner. We know our younger citizens, from school children to young adults, and they share our concerns about the environment, what kinds of jobs they will have in the next 20 years, and what kind of community they will have for their kids to grow up in. And believe me, they are not afraid to tell you what bothers them. A few weeks ago, I received a letter from Isabella Elias, who I believe is sitting right back over there. She sent this letter to tell us to think green in making our decisions and recommending we reuse products that we normally throw away after using them just one time. She wants us to spread the word about it, and I guarantee we will help do that. Thank you, Isabella.